Well, hello. Today I'd like to talk to you about a unique pen. This is a Polish pen from the 1950s. It's an Inco. So let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, do you know anything more about this Polish Inco? Maybe there's another unknown Central European brand you could recommend to me. In any case, leave a comment down below. So let's take a look at the pen. Now, my last name is Polish. I won't claim that I've ever been to Poland, but because of that, I had this interest in a Polish pen, and I finally found one, which would be this Inco. And you can see it's not in the best shape. I don't think this ever was a wonderful pen, but it provides a surprisingly nice writing experience. And you can also see a bit of my philosophy on restoration. This is not restored to like new condition. I don't know if it can be. Of particular note, right there, Inco, made in Poland, which already is interesting that it's in English. Overall, it's just, plastic. It's an injection or syringe. What would you call it? Syringe filler? This is a plunger anyway. I don't like it especially because it's really hard to grab this. And you can probably see that the barrel has become a little deformed over time. So it's very tight in there even with silicone grease. There's no other markings. I believe at one time there was a trim ring here which has come off. Some corrosion up here. Unscrew the cap. And we have an ink window. A nib. The nib is one of what I considered the interesting things. What's that? Warranted. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to read that sideways. Oh, wing flow. Warranted wing flow USA. And right below the USA is a number 4. And I'm trying to show you the feed. There we go. And there's the feed. So I find it interesting that this pen comes with a US made nib. When you consider where and when this pen is from, that just seems strange to me. But it writes well. Except when it runs out of ink, and I just realized it's out of ink. This may be a fortuitous happy accident. I really did think I had enough ink left in it to do my writing, but it is empty and not writing. So you get to see how a piston filler works, syringe filler. So what one does, is you push in this rod. Like I said, it's tight. Holy buckets. Even with the silicone grease I've put in there. And then you pull it out. That wasn't a real good fill, but I'm okay with that, actually. Yeah, and I got ink all over my fingers. So the ink is Monteverde turquoise. Why? Well, it's supposed to be a lubricated ink, but as I've learned, lubricated means different things to different manufacturers. In the noodler's world, it means it lubricates the pen parts. For other manufacturers, it has to do with how well it flows out of the pen. How well it flows out of the pen. So, I don't know which definition Monteverde uses. But you sort of got to see it, and you got to see my struggles. And as I said, that has to do with the warped barrel more than anything. And I just inked the cover of my book. I did ink myself there. One of the things I discovered almost right away writing with this pen is its ground. Come on. I don't know if you can tell in this semi-close-up. But very definitely the nib is ground, and it has a definite sweet spot. In fact, that sweet spot is so precise that if I get off of it, this will actually gouge into the paper. So we're on Monteverde Turquoise. Flex. It's ground. Oops, yeah, I just ground it there a little. It's not a particularly flexy nib. I'm pretty sure it's steel. That said, it has a little bit of line variation. And definitely is a wet writer. I enjoy this pen, actually. Not just because it's Polish, but it's kind of a fun one to write with, kind of like a cursive italic or something. Not, so much fun to fill, but a good writer. Well, you know the answer to the wetness and flow. Very wet. The smear test. I'm pretty sure we'll be smearing all over. Yep. Wet pen. And finally, for those who are into that kind of thing, reverse writing. Scratchy. Not really finding a sweet spot. But what I would consider a fine, I'd consider this, I don't know, like a cursive italic medium or broad. So let's do a longer form writing sample. You may have noticed I picked a long quote, and it always seems to be certain pens that I picked a long quotes. It's the ones I really like. This is one, despite its many faults, this is a good writer. In fact, not even thinking in terms of the channel, just thinking in terms of personal use. I always write letters to graduating seniors who give me a graduation announcement. And this is one of the pens I picked out to do that. That's where most of the Monteverde turquoise ink that was in it went. That's why I had to refill it here. It leaves a good line down. So let's run it through the famous Pierre Gustafson test. And I think you can see this pen has no trouble keeping up. One other test I always like to do, being careful not to get my inky fingers on my shirt. No problem. And you're saying, what did you just do? This shirt, yes, it has a real pocket, but they put a hole here for your pen. So, yeah, I think that's cool. It's my favorite feature of this shirt. I think they should all do it, because some of these shirts, you wear this and it ends up the pocket flap is flapping way out if it has one. Now I can't button it again. There we go. Yeah, kind of a Western shirt, but I live in the West, so I'm allowed to wear it. So anyway, speaking of West and East, I think it's interesting that this Polish-made pen has made in Poland, written in English. I also find it interesting that it has a U.S.-made nib. Now, it's from the 1950s. Seems to me that's Cold War time, but from my research, which there isn't much, but from little research I've been able to do, apparently these pens were sold with U.S. made nibs. Go figure. The Cold War was more complex than most of us realize, I guess, is the moral of the story here. So that is the Inco. As far as value, I honestly did not pay a lot of money for it, as you can guess. It went through a lot of cleaning for me to get it to this stage. As far as fixing, oh hell yeah. I had to grease that piston several times with silicone grease before it would even work. Once I got it done, I won't say it glides effortlessly, but it moves. And I'm finding that I have to re-grease it. It's just that tight area in the middle there. Well, I don't know why I'm pointing. You can't see it. But it's that tight area in the middle where the plastic just seems to have shrunk with age. And you'll find that plastics were, let's say, not what they are today at that point in time. And this is not a pen that would have been made with a very high-grade plastic. That said, I think it gave me a very good writing experience. So I enjoy it, and it's a Polish pen. I don't know if and this is part of what gets me so excited about this. I don't know if any other pen reviewer has ever reviewed a Polish pen. I've seen some Polish inks. Quizzy is a Polish ink, but I don't think I've ever seen a Polish pen on any of them. That, in fairness, of course, I watch a small subset of the pen reviews out there, so I would love it if you'd correct me in the comments down below and link me to a Polish pen review. I think that would be very interesting. So, if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, like I said, if you know of a video of a Polish review or you found one on a blog, please give me a link down in the comments. I think that would be fun and very interesting for me and for those who like these lesser-known vintage pens. Or perhaps you could suggest some other lesser-known Central European or Eastern or Western brands that haven't shown up here yet. So, as always, I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.